I am Windsor Lindor, and I welcome you back to the currents that shape creative leadership, developing leaders who act with integrity, responsibility, and excellence. In our prior recording segment, we began with the foundation of creative leadership. We explored the difference between functioning and authorship. Functioning keeps the machine running. Authorship understands what is running the machine. We also explored the first current, presence. Yes, presence. It is the discipline of returning before reacting, listening before deciding, breathing before speaking, and noticing before building. Presence is the lighthouse current. It does not chase the storm, it stands, it shines, and offers orientation. And that matters because leadership without presence becomes easy to hijack. Urgency becomes the strategist, fear becomes the communicator, pressure becomes the culture, and the leader begins to move without truly seeing. Presence. Yes, it gives the leader ground. So now we move from ground into structure. That is the second current, which I called core values in action. Here's the leadership truth. A core value you admire is not yet a core value you live. Core values are not decorative language. They are not phrases for a war, a website, a strategic plan, or a leadership retreat. Core values are structural. They reveal what a person is willing to honor when convenience, fear, desire, and pressure began competing for authority. And creative leadership, core values must become visible. Integrity becomes real when truth shapes the decision. Responsibility becomes real when follow through becomes non negotiable. Excellence becomes real when standards are sustained with care. Compassion becomes real when dignity is present in tone, timing, boundaries, and behavior. Courage becomes real when clarity remains intact under pressure. And this is why I consider core values as load bearing walls. For a home can have beautiful lighting, elegant furniture, expensive windows, and we find the design. Yet, if the load bearing walls are weak, the structure cannot carry pressure. The same is true in leadership. For a leader can have charisma, intelligence, credentials, experience, relationships, and vision. Now, if core values are unclear or inconsistently practiced, the entire leadership structure becomes vulnerable when the weather changes. You see, core values carry weight. Yes, they hold the ceiling when storms arrive. Yes, they keep leadership from collapsing into convenience, avoidance, resentment, confusion, or emotional negotiation. And this is especially important in systems aligned leadership. A system is not aligned simply because it has processes. A system is aligned when behavior, decisions, communication, accountability, and culture are governed by a coherent center. Core values provide that center. A culture of success is not created by language alone. It is created by repetition, evidence, and embodiment. The people you lead study what you sustain. Yes, they watch what receives your attention. They notice what you correct, what you tolerate, what you reward, and what you avoid. Yes, they learn your core values through your patterns. This is why the practical leadership question is not only what do I value, the more revealing question is where is the evidence? Where is the evidence of integrity in your calendar? Where is the evidence of responsibility in your follow through? Where is the evidence of excellence in your preparation? Where is the evidence of compassion in your communication? Yes, where is the evidence of courage and the decision you keep postponing? These are not questions of shame. They are questions of alignment. For a leader who can ask these questions honestly, that leader is ready to step into maturity. Because core values cannot guide what they are not allowed to examine. They cannot shape the culture if they remain poetic rather than practical. So here's the practical application here. It is the core values and action audit, where you are invited to choose one core value you claim to hold. Do not make it complicated. Simply choose one core value that matters in the season of your leadership. And then ask the following 4 questions. First one, what behavior does this core value require from me? Second question, what boundary does this core value ask me to honor? And third question, what habit will make this core value more visible to the people I lead? And lastly, the fourth question, what decision would prove that this core value has moved from intention into action? And so now let us take integrity as an example. Now, if integrity is the core value, what behavior does it require? Perhaps it requires a truthful conversation that has been delayed. Now, what boundary does it ask you to honor? Perhaps it asks you to stop saying yes to commitments that quietly weaken your word. What habits would make it visible? Perhaps it asks you to review agreements weekly and close loops responsibly. Yes, what decision will prove it has moved from intention into action? Perhaps it asks you to correct a misalignment before it becomes a cultural pattern. For this is how core values become architecture. They begin shaping meetings, relationships, expectations, standards. They shape hiring, delegation, communication, repair, and accountability. Yes, they shape the leader from within. When core values are practiced consistently, leadership becomes less performative and more coherent. The leader does not need to manufacture authority because authority begins to emerge from alignment. Yes, people, may not always agree with every decision, yet they can sense the presence of a principled center. That principled center is essential to excellence in action. Now, remember, excellence here is not perfection. It is care made visible through disciplined action. It asks, of course, excellence asks the leader to honor the quality of the work, the dignity of the people, the truth of the purpose, and the responsibility of the impact. This is where success becomes sustainable, not because everything is easy, because the foundation is strong enough to carry complexity. Once our core values become visible in action, something else begins to speak more clearly. Yes, our emotions. They begin revealing where alignment is present and where misalignment is asking for attention. That brings us to the next current. In segment 3, we will explore emotional intelligence. We will examine why emotion is information, why mature leaders neither suppress nor worship emotion, and how emotional intelligence helps us lead with responsibility, clarity, humanity, and steadiness under pressure. I am Windsor Lindor. May your core values become visible to your decisions. May integrity guide your center. May responsibility strengthen your follow through. Yes, may excellence become the evidence of reverence within. Be well.